Let's get back to the upstream sector. You said that we could get trained in the upstream sector. How easy is that?
Before now, it has not been easy. I'm a perfect example. For my training, I had to travel. I had to study French, for example, or even if it's in English, it took me many years, 2 years in university, another 3 years for a PhD, then about 4 years doing a lot of technical things. Now, that's quite long. And one of the reasons is that we do it the way the IOCs propose. That is, they select people, they pick you and they train you, and but we can simplify this. What example can I give? Everybody must not go to biotechnology for agriculture. You can start from the farm with your hoe. So we are taking down this training to the common people. That's the aim of my organization, IES Oil and Gas. What we do is in fact, one of our offices in Bagada is just a room with machines. We have fluorescence machine. We have a lot of things, and we do it simply. So let's bring things down. That's my advice. What this means is that most of the courses in the oil and gas industry, some of them are in the computer. You need a workstation. With this workstation, you train people. You don't need to make it too big. This is the message I'm trying to say. Because most of this training, the last training we held, that was a few years ago, before I started my program, a simple training that took 7 days was costing about $3,000. Now, how do you bring in the common man? Part of this is because we were doing this training in Protea Hotel. Everything is just too costly. The reason is that by doing this, we isolate the people. The actual training shouldn't cost that much. So the advice is, let's bring this down. And in our training, we make it simple. What matters is that people get the training and they get the technical experience they need to work in the industry.
Who are the people that are qualified to come for your training?
Actually, we have two sets of people. We have the elite. Those, when I say elite, I mean oil and gas elite. People already in the industry. And these people are working today, some of them in the indigenous companies, and they don't have exposure. So we train them with the basics they need, because the highest challenge you have in the industry is not to have the global picture. You don't stand to argue. You cannot play a role. The second group is from the masses, youths, people who don't have any experience. We do a prerequisite course for them where we take them to the field. We teach them what is geology, what is rock, before we start keying into exploration and production. So we have two classes, the people who are already in the industry, who want to get exposure to some of the courses not taught in Nigeria, which have been able to be opportuned by the help of many people and my sponsorship. I was able to get some of this training. So a few of us and others are training them on this. And then those who don't have these basics, we have to take them through the prerequisite. Then we bring them. And I want to mention that in the oil industry employs everybody virtually. That is to say, there's all kind of jobs there. It's not all too technical.
One will always think that those who work in the oil industry are those the experts.
Not really. Let me give you an example. There's something we call mud logging. What does it entail? When you are drilling, some cuttings, this is a kind of rock pieces, mud and all that, comes to surface. A sample catcher, his work is just to collect this, dry it in an oven and package it and label it per depth. This is simple. Anyone can do this. The mud logger's work is to study this under the microscope, measure the density, track a lot of information. Is there a hydrocarbon, which you put in fluorescence machine? We have built a local fluorescence machine ourselves here in Nigeria. We did it because it's not complex. You need mercury light, and when you have hydrocarbon in the presence of propanol, it changes color. So some of these things we can do it. So this is not complex, and we're proving it today.
Why is it difficult to teach things like this in schools, say in secondary schools?
There is a major problem I mentioned in my book, which is the confidentiality clause. The government, the Petroleum Bill, is trying to remove this. The clause stops anyone in the oil industry from divulging any information. Reason being that you have to protect the technology, you have to protect the company's interest. But this is a challenge, because while in Europe, this same information about our oil, about our well, is taught in school. I asked somebody, why is it not taught back at home in Nigeria? He said there are many oil companies, and so there's competition. But where you don't have it, there's no competition. So they learn it. I learned it there. My point is that there's a gap between our schools and the industry. People coming for IT, doing photocopies and all that. So there's this don't talk policy, which is not secrecy. And it's not good because our people play into this game and they don't teach these things in school. Some of our professors, apart from the few exposures they have when they go for conferences, they are not in touch with the oil industry. So it's our duty as Nigerians to take this to them. And we're already making effort with some universities now.
Okay, so that will be introduced in schools.
Yes, I had this, there's something we're coming up with, is a letter to the Minister of Education to tell him to institute petroleum studies in secondary school. This is something we're working on. The second one is that we have this consortium with universities where we go to universities, we have free lectures, we introduce some materials and we do some practicals with them, and few of them come for our training. So the aim is to gradually, at the grassroots, begin to make people know what they are missing. For us, that's the most important thing. Let people know we can do better.
While we were talking the other time, you made a statement about the fact that sometime soon our oil may not be relevant.
Very soon. Very soon, because as at 20 years ago in Europe, there was already solar cars. And our partners are serious. They are not joking. They have research centers. We have hybrid cars. Okay, and even as I speak to you, oil price is low. It's about $40, and it might not come up because it's no longer a question of OPEC trying to do anything. The truth is that shale gas, which is another technology altogether, is coming to take over crude oil and is pumping in more gas into the system. We have a situation where we travel less because we have video conferencing and all that. We have a situation where we are building cars that may not need petrol. We have a situation where we are improving solar. By 2021, some countries, solar will become the dominant energy, some part of the world. And while this is happening, we're just depending on crude oil. So we have
still prospecting.
Wow. We have two problems here. One is that of not being available. Our reserves are running down. The second problem is relevance. A time will come when our oil will not be as profitable as it should be. And that's the case already. My regret is that we got to this point without understanding what happened to us. I mean, 10 years ago, we should have started to look at shale gas in Nigeria.
I probably have squandered the money.
No, nothing to invest with today.
Yeah. No, you said shale gas.
Shale gas is, you see, with the LNG, actually, Nigeria has more gas than liquid oil. And gas is even more valuable today because you can use it to power for energy, you can use it for household equipment, a lot of things. But what happened is that we only use our oil to date and until recently. Oil is the liquid oil, the one we know, fuel and all that. But the gas goes out as gas. For many years in Nigeria, we flare this gas, we burn it. This is because we don't have infrastructures to pipe it for usage in the nation, and we don't have the technology to liquefy it because you don't want to carry gas as gas. You want it to be in liquid, so you have to pressure it. You have to compress it until it becomes liquid. Now we have so much gas that can make as much money, if not more, than what we are making with crude oil. But there are no infrastructures to pipe them. But the good news is that we have this gas shale that is a kind of rock. Like if you come to the Niger Delta, to the Anambra Basin, you have rocks that are black. These are crude oil. They have kerosene. If you can drill into this gas, add acid, or query them and melt them, refine them, you will produce gas. You will produce hydrocarbon. That's what Canada is doing. That's why oil price is going low. And unfortunately, we are here. We've not explored that.
We have it.
We have it. We have what of the biofuel? We have all this, but because it's so easy, and because this money is spent by politicians, we have not looked into. We've not done the homework we needed to do. And again, I say the oil industry employees of IOCs who know these things have a role to play. We are supposed to have called our people to order, do few things in the local, in our own way. But unfortunately, the arrangement of the country discourages people. You feel it's not just worth it. I mean, why am I bothering myself here while in Abuja some people are taking other decisions? So people just give up, especially with the exclusive list and all that. So it's complex.
But someday, maybe we'll just wake up and discover that our oil is gone. So what are we going to be doing?
Major challenge. We're talking of agriculture. We're talking of all this. You need energy to power this.
Yeah.
So we still need oil. So it's now or never. We need to wake up. We need to have become wealthy, to have become a wealthy nation. We needed to have been more independent, to run our own resources. That's another whole story. We need to start doing something. That's why we're making this effort. We have a project to train 180 youths this year in Nigeria. That's one of IES oil and gas objective. We believe, my mentor taught me something. He trained 16 people and about 4 of them to a very high level. And he believed that if he can get these 4 people trained, they will train thousands of others. For me, it was like it's not realistic. But today, we are trying to do the same. Let's do things at our own level. I call on everyone in the IOCs, oil and gas, who are Nigerians. Please render your support. Let's do something for our country before it's too late. Let's begin to train people. We have youths today who are beginning to learn what crude oil looks like, how to explore, what is seismic. Because in the upstream, we are talking of seismic acquisition, we are talking of wireline logging, we are talking of petroleum evaluation, we are talking of seal and trap analysis. These are technical things, interesting, which we can learn. So let's start to do these things before it's too late. Because you talk of our oil drying up, is almost the case. What we get from revenue today is like 25% of what we were getting 10 years ago. That calls us to attention.
ISOG, what does it mean?
Integrated LV Services Limited. So the IES is Integrated LV Services. OG is oil and gas. So IES oil and gas or iesog.com. That's our
website.
That's our website.
www.iesog.com. So if I get there, we can get more information about what you do.
About all our modules, our training, our objectives, and the progress we're having so far.
Well, do you see prospects in this industry?
I see prospects. We have 3-point approach. The first one is to share information to the masses. To me, this is quite important. That's why I wrote this book, an overview of the petroleum industry, a new perspective in the story. We want to look at things differently. Let's look away a little from the downstream. Let's look at the upstream and make the masses to know what's going on in the oil and gas industry. That's our first objective. We'll circulate a lot of materials. We do workshops, conference, free tutorials just for people to first of all begin to be aware. You can't own what you don't know. So that's our first target. The second one is the trainings we have. We have a full course training because something very important is that, as I said the other time, the industry will train you in just one module and make you to be good in that.
Expert.
Yeah, but with that, you cannot run an oil company. So what my mentor did was to intentionally expose me to a broad, to go through what we call the petroleum chain, from exploration to appraisal to development. So this is, and to production. So what this means is you learn how to find the oil, you learn how to appraise it for economic purpose, you learn how to develop it, how to plan your wells, and you learn how to produce it. That's the full chain. So that's what's unique about our training, is that we take our students to go through the full chain. So anyone that goes through our program, our diploma program, is a full candidate. You can work independently, you can work in a company, and most importantly, you know what is at stake. You know what the business is all about. So if you go to our website, you see all that. And I think I'm happy that few Nigerians are beginning to show interest.
So I'd like to thank you. I've been speaking with Dr. Livinus Nosike, who has been talking about his work, overview of the petroleum industry, as well as talk about the upstream and downstream sector and what we need to do as a nation to be prepared for tomorrow. You are training people. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nosike, for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure.